It's a deferral to full council, with which I have absolutely no difficulty. Like others, can I offer my congratulations to our council officers and all involved in reconfiguration, somersaults, whatever you want to call it, that have had to be done to bring that stuff broadly into line again. That's extremely welcome. Um, and I want, like other colleagues, like Councillor Box, to look at section 3.4, is it, or section 4? Section 3.4, Strabane Town Centre. I welcome that the public realm element of City Deal is still there, and the that was planned by council to that needs to be looked at. I think that's what John was telling us, and of course that is a concern because there were promises made. They need to be brought to fruition by whatever means. John, in your presentation, you mentioned the issue of no guarantee, or did you say no guarantee reference revenue from the departments? I would hate to think we'd be in a situation where we'd have the build done, but there wouldn't have been the commitment then to properly resource and staff the particular facilities, the health facility, taking over on the old tech grounds, and indeed the new college facility will require that revenue commitment. So that's a slight concern to me, and I gather that it could be a concern to yourself and to others within the team on that. Could we have clarification on that? The I think that's it. All of the other points have been covered with regard to the city elements, are not all covered, but major concerns within that. But just those couple of wee issues with regard to particularly the Strabane Town Centre. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey. I have two more indicated speakers, so I'm going to take them and let John come back on then. So, Councillor Farrell.
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and thanks, John, for the report. Obviously, the City Deal presents a massive economic, cultural and social opportunities, and it's really, really disappointing that the British government didn't make any more funding available to deal with all the inflationary pressures that every single project was experiencing, and that nearly everyone had to be revisited and redesigned and revised to come in on budget. But I've got a question about the OBCs, specifically for the projects that were the lead partner. And I understand, they're more or less finalised. They're going to be submitted within the next couple of weeks. Are we as members going to have visibility of those OBCs? I know we get papers, and it gives us the general thrust of what we're looking to achieve, but are we going to see those OBCs so we know what has been submitted in detail? And I've got a comment as well regarding Councillor Harkin and has concerns about DFE and UU and the future expansion of McGee. This council has been very, very vocal regarding the New Decade, New Approach commitment that says that the executive would bring forward proposals for the expansion of McGee to 10,000 students. What we've seen from 3 DUP ministers when they had the Minister for the Economy portfolio, we invited Diane Dodds to come to this council to appraise us on the New Decade, New Approach commitment. We invited Paul Frew and we invited Gordon Lyons on numerous occasions. And all they did in their time in post was duck and dive any responsibility they had regarding that commitment. As far as we're concerned, the commitment is still in place. The target is 10,000 students at McGee, and one party is to blame here. There is not an economy minister in the north because the DUP are refusing to go to work. When they held the ministry they were refusing to take any sort of action to deliver on the New Decade, New Approach commitment. And now their failure to go to work means that no minister can make any meaningful efforts to expand McGee. So that's the reality about New Decade, New Approach.
Thank you, Councillor Farrell. Councillor Jackson, then I'll bring John back in.
Yeah, Grandma, Chair, and I suppose just to start in relation to Councillor Boggs' proposal to defer, it's good to see that it's received wide support. And I know we have a meeting scheduled with yourself, John, next week with Orla Begley MP and Melissa McHugh, MLA. So that's the hopefully that's where we can tease out any answers to the questions that we would have. In relation to the Queen's Key structure, I think what we've seen in the correspondence today and what we've seen through the discussions is that it's outworkings of a lot of great work by council, and I think it shows that how diligent council were to challenge the transfer of that land. The council and removed the liabilities to the repairs. So I suppose that the foresight that what the council had at that time has served, and it's been acknowledged in the correspondence from DFI that they do have responsibility for the long term, or they have some responsibility for the long term solution to the Queen's Key structure, and that's again down to the foresight of council to challenge that as part of the transfer process. Again, in relation to the city deal, it's the biggest investment under this council area that we've ever seen. Coming along with that, there's huge opportunities, but there's a huge amount of work. And John, I just want to pass on our congratulations and the team for all the work that's been done so far, because it's not lost on us. Given opportunities through city deal, we know that there was a huge amount of work and a burden on council officers in relation to that. So we've seen it time and time again where officers have stepped up to ensure that we can deliver for this council area, and this is that we've seen it yet again as part of this. We all want to see the expansion of McGee and the university, and as part of the city deal process, we were all clear that we were entering into partnerships, and there's some people have a different view of a partnership than we would have, but I suppose what we want to see is partners working together, working to achieve goals that we had set out, and I think most of us are very clear in relation to the goals that we want to see for this city and district and the wider Northwest region. And I think from our perspective, it's working with all partners, working with all interested bodies to ensure we reach those goals. Just in relation to the traffic realignment, and it was very useful, John, to have conversations with yourself prior to the meeting in relation to this, and council are in a position where we can take that holistic view, looking at the traffic management, traffic flow, and looking at ways that can improve that part of our city centre, can create opportunities for further investment. That's I think as you know, in relation to this, this could be the first step in relation to something big that could be transformational in relation to creating a modal shift, but also creating investment opportunities within our city centre. But we have to acknowledge that there's going to be very strong views in relation to that. So we would like to hear more around what form of public consultation would take place in relation to the proposed plans for the realignment of the Queen's Quay and Strand Road. But in respect of the wider piece, John, I just wanted to give our endorsement and in relation to the direction of travel and the work that's been put on by officers to get us to this stage. And hopefully we can continue to work with all the relevant partners to see this being delivered on the ground. Chair.
Thank you, Christopher. John, do you want to come back on any points?
Thank you, Chair. First of all, thank you to every member who's spoken with regard to the dedication of the team. It's kind of always, this is always in addition to the day job, if you like. And it really is a monumental piece of work. And I think with hindsight, applying for a city deal and the toll it would take in trying to get it to this point is significant, but the prize is enormous, and that is what is driving us all on to try and achieve this. So we still got a big journey to go. So thank you. I would certainly pass those on to the team. Picking up a few of the comments, Alderman Hussey, the revenue concerns. So it did highlight that at the early part of the report. I think it's probably true to say that maybe in years gone by, revenue considerations weren't necessarily fully scoped out when projects were being proposed. The OBCs for City Deal need to deal with the revenue requirements. So they need to show that they've been fully scoped, and they also need to show the funding source. Otherwise, the OBC won't pass through the system. And that's been a really big challenge for some of the project partners, particularly in the innovation projects or the health projects. They need to be able to show that these projects are sustainable, can be staffed, can be resourced, because City Deal funding is only providing the capital. The OBCs going forward and going into the system will have the revenue implications dealt with. And if they aren't adequately dealt with, the departments won't approve the OBCs. Councillor Farrell's comments, will members see side of the OBCs? Absolutely. The SOCs, the strategic outline cases, were made available to all elected members. Some of them make for pretty dry reading, it has to be said, but they will be available. But essentially, the OBCs comprise the projects that have been outlined in the reports. And then the OBCs, as you know, have to go through a 5-case model, all the financial case, the strategic case set out, all the detail, but they will be made available. And indeed, if during the process of members reviewing them, there is a requirement to amend the OBCs, then that also can take place. The final thought just in relation to Queen's Quay, it's yes, I mean, we did, as members know, have a big discussion in around the time that the one-way transfer of car parks took place to council. Philip led on the legals with regard to the challenge to that. There is a wording of an agreement with the FI with respect to that. It is the case that council own part of that deteriorating asset, and there is a big discussion to be had around when the scheme is eventually designed and costed, who exactly takes that forward. But it is encouraging that at the very least DFA are currently aware and alert to the problem and are continuing to monitor it, and we'll be seeking an update on its current condition at present for the hosting of events. And the last very important point made by Councillor Jackson, the proposals currently do envisage significantly changing the current look of the riverfront, hopefully for the long term better. But these are only proposals. These are only proposals that are going forward in an OBC to get the engagement of government to say that they wish to work with the city to do these things. The next stage is going to have to be a massive, comprehensive consultation that will probably take place over a number of phases. There'll probably be some initial consultation on the high level proposals, and then there'll be further detailed consultation as the design develops and statutory consultation over the years as the project moves into detailed design. But that has to be absolutely part of the process. Hopefully, Chair, I've answered those questions.
Thank you, John. So at this stage, Councillor Boggs has proposed that we defer this, any decision on this specific report to full council, and that has been seconded by Councillor Tierney. At this stage, I haven't heard anybody speak against that proposal. Just give it a wee second in case anybody changed their mind. Nope. Okay. So we'll move forward, and then hopefully we'll have a chance to explore it between now and full council and see that move forward. Item 9 is open for information, and that is correspondence. Does anyone wish to speak on that item? Councillor Healy, go ahead.
Chair, it was just to express disappointment once again that it's clear that the British Home Office is going to proceed with this electronic travel authentication or essentially a visa, which threatens to really hamper and damage the tourism potential of the city here, just as it's getting back on its feet post-COVID. You know, it's clear, despite all the talk of consultation, that they're proceeding anyway. The only thing they're talking to local tourism businesses here is about the communication and how they can communicate this in whatever way. So it's again, you know, disappointing, as I say, and it's clear from the news today, the British government are being legally challenged in some of the other areas of their immigration policy by human rights organisations, and there could potentially be some legal avenue here as this proceeds. But just to make that on the record.
Thank you for that, Councillor Healy, and those comments will be noted. With no one else indicating to speak on the items for information, could I get a proposer to go into confidential? It's proposed by Councillor Boggs, seconded by Councillor Duffy. Let's give it a wee second. Can I just gauge views? It's 6:20 that we didn't take a break. Do you want to go ahead, or